I decided to give up fast food. Now, this wasn't something that I'd ever really planned to do. It's not, I guess, that big of a deal because I don't buy fast food that much anyway, and I actually haven't had McDonald's in about 2.5 years. So I'd already given up McDonald's, and pizza I hadn't had since about, I guess, June last year, so like 8 months or something. Besides that last pizza day, there was actually two other occasions with work where I was around people, a group that we ordered pizza, and I resisted. Yes, people are going to be like, "Oh, well, why aren't you having any?" And they ask, and that's it. It can be awkward. It can be frustrating when you have to explain yourself, but it's not that bad. And usually, sometimes you'll get people that won't understand or will pressure you or be like, "Oh, you're being ridiculous." But I found that people have been pretty supportive. It helped me to realize that I can live without pizza because I passed it up the last three chances at work that I had anyway. So it's not something that I need in my life. And as weird as it is, that was an important thing to realize because I don't know, I guess pizza's really kind of one of those default things. Like if you're in a group of people, it's like, oh, well, do you want to eat something? Let's order pizza, right? It's kind of a peer pressure thing, right? But again, the stubbornness and then preparation. So I always just made sure that I had something else to eat. That way I didn't really feel like I was missing out, like it's not like I'm starving here. And it always kind of made me feel better because I knew as opposed to putting something greasy in my body, I was putting healthy things in my body. So it was almost positive reinforcement, and I took pride in it, I guess. One struggle, though, is trying to not let that pride go too far. Like I want to be proud of myself for an accomplishment, but I don't want to get to the point where I'm snobby, I guess, about people that are doing that because they have every right to have pizza when they want to have pizza, and I don't want people to feel guilty because I'm not going to have pizza. And that is a hard thing to find that balance where I can just be happy with myself without making people feel bad about it. So I think that's kind of something that I've got to figure out a little more. As far as giving up the fast food, I thought about it and I thought, like, well, what things would I miss the most? Pizza is something that you can make yourself at home and you can make a healthier version. That was something that comforted me, is thinking, like, yeah, I can give up fast food, but it doesn't mean I can never eat pizza again in my life. It doesn't mean I can never eat a hamburger again in my life. It just means I have a healthier version, right? I can have a hamburger with leaner meat, with fresher tomato, with whole wheat bun. And pizza again too, like you can control like the amount of grease that's on there. I was gonna basically have like a Last Supper as just to enjoy one more time the things that I would miss. So this is gonna sound ridiculous. I got a pizza, like just a small, like dinner plate size pizza from this burger place, like a burger and fries. I got a small thing of KFC popcorn chicken, as well as a small Taco Time Nachos Deluxe, because the Nacho Deluxe, that's something when I would go to the mall, like that would be like my lunch that I would get. And popcorn chicken, you can have breaded chicken at home, but unless you deep fry it, it's not going to be the same. But I know it's not exactly a quality meal. The burger, it's a greasy burger and greasy fries. For the record, I did not eat all of it. In fact, the pizza I was quite disappointed with. I ate about a twelfth of the pizza because I don't really like pizza sauce, and I asked for like light sauce, but there was tons of sauce, and it was cut into 6 pieces. I had about half a piece. I only had half of the burger. I would say, about half, maybe just over half of the fries. I did eat the Nacho Deluxe and the popcorn chicken myself. I didn't let myself get to the point where I was sick, but I let myself get to the point where I was full. There was a part of me that was tempted to make myself sick, and then I'd be completely disgusted, and like too much of a good thing is not a good thing. But I didn't. It was at the point where I knew I was definitely full, and it was at the point where I was satisfied, and I knew, you know what, this is it. I'm good, and I'm done. And I had peace with that. It's kind of exciting to be like, wow, I'm not gonna have fast food pizza like ever again. like I was saying, it kind of sounds ridiculous, but the fact that I've resisted 3 things where I've had to be sitting basically like right with people eating pizza, and I've been fine as long as I, one, stubborn, two, be prepared. I brought other food. It wasn't a big deal in the end. So I know that I can do it. Sometimes you surprise yourself, with your willpower, your willpower, your resistance. And it's really interesting because temptation is always going to be around us, but it's a matter of training ourselves, different strategies of how to cope with it and how to resist it. We can't hide in some like little shelter of no temptation because that's just impossible. Or I guess if you could, or if you did, you'd basically be alienating everyone and everything in your life. So maybe you could resist temptation, but you probably wouldn't be living a very fun life. And so my last dinner is probably also a reason that my weight went up last week, because I kind of indulged. Keep in mind, I did cleanse the next day. I had mostly fruit and juice and stuff. I didn't eat too much the next day to try to just let it go through me. I guess basically I gained back what I had lost the week before, and then I think like another pound. So it was frustrating. It was discouraging, and especially because, like I said, like that morning when I went to weigh myself, I felt way lighter than I did a week before when I was lighter, and it was just like, oh, it's so frustrating because you think like, oh, I lost 3 more pounds, and then it's like, nope, I gained 4 pounds. Once you get the momentum, that's something that really helps to keep you going too. You don't want to slip up because, you just want to keep going forward. I just really want to get that momentum going. Yeah. Another thing that helped, and it just kind of worked out with the timing, is that Lent began a few days after my last dinner. Lent for me is a very good time to get more strict with my meal plan because I just have a really guilty conscience. So if I commit to abstaining from something during Lent, it's a lot easier for me. I don't know, I guess I find if I make a promise to God, it's a lot easier to keep that promise than to myself, which is pretty sad because I need to learn to keep promises with myself as well. But I find I let myself off the hook a lot more easily if it's just myself that I'm disappointing, right? Last year, for example, a girl at work who makes possibly the best cookies in the world, peanut butter, chocolate chip, and score bar or something in these cookies. They're so good, and they're like soft, chewy cookies. Anyway, she brought me some cookies last year during Lent, and I think it was like 2 weeks or something before Easter, so it was getting towards the end. And when she gave them to me, I explained that I wasn't having any sweets or treats or junk food until Easter, but I thanked her and said, I'll put them in the freezer and then I'll have them after Easter. And that day, though, I guess I was having a weak moment, and at one point I had decided, I'm gonna have the cookie, and I took it out of the bag. I was holding the cookie in my hand, looking at the cookie, smelling the cookie, and I don't know how I managed to do this, but I stopped myself and I looked at the cookie at that moment and I said, you know what? If Jesus can die on the cross for me, I can wait 2 more weeks to have this cookie. Like when you look at the big picture of like what I was giving up for Lent, that's nothing. So that's why I guess Lent just is really easy for me to resist temptation, because I just think of what little I'm giving up in comparison to what was given up for me. So if that's something you want to try to help you, I would definitely recommend it because it really does help me to stay focused and stay committed and keep my promises.